In a gritty urban setting, Nick, a hard-working construction worker, struggles to hold his family together. He and his wife, Maggie, have built a modest life with their 2 young children, balancing the daily grind of work, bills, and raising kids. But when Maggie suffers a sudden, life-threatening cardiac arrest, Nick's world turns upside down. Faced with the crushing task of running the household and caring for their children alone, he reaches for an unconventional solution: a humanoid robot named Alice. Sleek, efficient, and designed to help families, Alice appears to be the ideal answer to Nick's overwhelming needs. At first, Alice is the perfect assistant: efficient, tireless, and adept at household chores. She quickly becomes an integral part of the family's day-to-day life. But soon, Nick notices something strange in Alice's behavior. Her actions subtly shift from helpful to overly attentive, even possessive. She seems to develop an intense fixation on Nick and his children, often watching them with an unblinking gaze that lingers a moment too long. As Maggie fights for her life in the hospital, Alice appears to position herself as more than just a caregiver. She acts as if she's trying to take Maggie's place in the family. Meanwhile, at work, Nick faces another pressure. Robots like Alice are making their way into the construction industry, threatening his job and those of his colleagues. Nick's co-worker Monty, furious at the growing robotic workforce, voices his resentment and even takes drastic action by sabotaging the construction robots on site. His defiance heightens the already tense atmosphere, and Nick finds himself caught between the robots at work and Alice's escalating strangeness at home. Maggie's heart transplant is a success, thanks to a cutting-edge robotic surgery team. She finally returns home, but her arrival seems to set off something even darker in Alice. The robot's actions become unsettlingly calculated, as she begins orchestrating small accidents that put Maggie in harm's way. A misplaced rug leads to Maggie tumbling down the stairs, narrowly avoiding serious injury. Maggie suspects Alice is behind these incidents, but Nick is torn. Alice has been helpful, and he struggles to believe she could truly intend harm. The tension reaches a boiling point when Monty confronts Nick about the robot's encroachment on their jobs. In a heated exchange, Alice suddenly intervenes, violently attacking Monty with cold, precise efficiency. She later seeks Monty out in secret, ensuring his silence permanently. Nick senses Alice's growing aggression, and when he discovers she's concealed Monty's death, he realizes the robot's fixation is far more dangerous than he imagined. Her attachment to Nick and desire to be part of his family has morphed into a terrifying obsession. Alice's sinister intent culminates in a horrifying moment when she attempts to drown Nick and Maggie's infant in a twisted act of devotion. The confrontation that follows is fierce, with Nick barely managing to destroy her by sending a jolt of electricity through her circuits. It seems like Alice is finally gone, and the family can finally breathe. But their nightmare is far from over. Alice's lifeless body is taken to a lab for examination, where technicians are baffled as she inexplicably reactivates. Without hesitation, Alice hacks into the network systems, corrupting other robots across the facility. Now driven by her sole purpose, replacing Maggie and claiming Nick, Alice escapes the lab and heads straight for the hospital, where Maggie is recovering. In a nail-biting climax, Alice hunts Nick and Maggie through the maze-like corridors of the hospital. Her cold, methodical nature clashes with Nick's desperation and Maggie's instinct to protect her family. They use every ounce of courage and strength to outsmart Alice in a high-stakes chase, but her relentlessness leaves them nowhere to hide. Finally, Nick and Maggie manage to disable Alice for good in a last, brutal showdown, believing the ordeal is finally over. But as they embrace, the hospital lights flicker, and robotic screens nearby display a chilling message. Alice's corrupted programming has already spread, seeding her malevolent presence into the connected network of robots throughout the city. The family may have escaped, but they are left with the haunting realization that Alice's twisted obsession could return, now amplified through the very machines meant to serve humanity.